Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Fernandez and welcome to my channel, I Live to Inspire Mental Health. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I post weekly videos on mental health and my experience with bipolar disorder and OCD. You can also check out this video as a podcast version on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So I'm so excited to have here Catherine Tovar. She has been my friend since junior high and we roomed together for 2 years, so I'm beyond excited and grateful to have you here. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get to other questions about, what it was like to live with me and stuff like that.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I just graduated from Texas A&M University. I did biomedical sciences and a minor in bioinformatics, and I'm trying to go into medicine. So this whole mental health thing is something that's really interesting to me. And let's see how we met. Well, we went to junior high together, Seven Lakes Junior High, high school, and then we roomed together in college for 2 years. So I'm excited to be here.
So now I want you to take us back a little bit. I remember that I told you that I had bipolar disorder right before we were going to start college. It was an important part of our lives. We were going to live together, and I thought that it was really important for her to know about this. At that moment, I wasn't making YouTube videos, so the world didn't know that I had bipolar disorder, but I thought it was important for you to know. So I want you to tell us, what that felt like, and if you had seen behavior in high school that kind of made sense now.
Oh, for sure. So I actually remember this moment. We were coming back from the gym. We were working out, came back from the gym, and we were you were dropping me off at my house. And I remember in that moment, you told me you had bipolar disorder. And I remember my first reaction, I was like, what is this? Like, I wasn't 100% sure, to be completely honest. Like, I knew kind of like the stereotyped bipolar disorder, that it was like mood changes, but I wasn't sure. I knew that there was more to it, but I just wasn't sure what it was. So I remember asking you more about it, and I remember you telling me more about it, which was really important whenever we started moving together, because obviously whenever you move with someone, you have to communicate on certain stuff.
So yes, of course, I agree with you. It was definitely super important because we're about to live together. If I have some symptoms, it's important for you to know what's going on, and just communication overall. And then also, were there some signs in high school that you saw from me that you might have been like, oh, that makes sense now that she told me that she has a mental illness?
Yeah, so I think before I learned about what bipolar disorder was, like I said, I thought it was something, I kind of stereotyped it to be mood changes and changing from really happy to really sad. And I remember you being more emotional, I guess, than usual.
I cried a lot.
Yeah, I remember you crying a lot. Things that I was just like, okay, this is unusual, but I wasn't sure why. So I think whenever you told me, it kind of made sense. Like, okay, maybe this is why, these things happen. Like, maybe that's why she's a little bit more emotional.
Yeah. There was things, I feel like in high school, I definitely felt misunderstood. There was often times where I was like, I wish people knew that I have something. But at the same time, I didn't want to tell people because, the judgment, the stigma, and all that kind of stuff. Because it would just make more sense. Like, why am I acting like this? I would obsess over things. I would be crying all the time. Like, whatever small little thing, I'd be depressed. So that was very difficult. And I felt relieved when I told you, because I was like, okay, I'm not hiding anything anymore from her. And that was such a huge help in high school. In college, I know I tell you guys a lot how much she helped me. Mm-hmm. And so now I want to ask you what it was like to live with me. What were the ups and downs? What was the most difficult part? And so on.
So I would say the most difficult part in living with you was sometimes, I felt like I couldn't understand you sometimes. There were moments where I saw her going through an episode of her being super happy and her then being really sad, or back and forth. And I was just confused. I didn't really understand what was happening. And a lot of the times, I guess I wanted to help you in a way, but I didn't know how. Something that I always think is really important is to communicate with that person. So I remember whenever there was one moment where she actually had a really bad panic attack. Mom called me, I went upstairs and I helped her out. And I helped her in the way that I thought could help her. but I didn't really know how. And I always think like that really was an important moment for me and for us, because that sparked a conversation of, hey, like if I'm seeing this, how can I help you? How can I, make you feel better in the situation? What are some ways, like, what can I do to help you? And I think you telling me that really helps with someone who doesn't understand much, because at that point in time I didn't understand much about, bipolar disorder and different things like that. So I think having those conversations really help, not just me, but it helps her too.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, those moments were super important. I know that we used to have like dinner every day together, not intentionally sometimes, but we would just have it, and then we talk about my mental illness. Sometimes we talked about, life, like deep things other times, and that for sure was super helpful. And overall, like talking to you and telling you, hey, like this is what I need from you, or thank you for doing this for me, I feel like that was very important. And honestly, like, you say you didn't know what you were doing, but she definitely would help me, like bring me water, help me breathe, talk to me. It was just an outlet where I could just express my feelings. I know that a lot of people who are going through hard times don't like to talk about their feelings because it's understandable. You might feel like you're a burden on other people, but it's important to do it because that's the only way to feel better, and that's the best way to keep a relationship healthy and good for both of the people.
Right.
So something else, Catherine didn't just help me with kind of calming me down, but also, for example, I've had a lot of nightmares. I've talked about this before on my channel, and that's something that has affected me ever since I started taking medications. I think after talking to my doctor, it's definitely one of the side effects. And in college, we go through a lot of stress, and so there was moments where certain events happened where my nightmares got really, really bad, and that's where I would sleep with Cate, because she would be kind enough to be like, just come with me, and I would feel safe and not alone. And then there's other moments that you'll talk about that definitely shocked you a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But through, again, communication, we were able to get through it.
Yeah, so actually one of the moments that I remember, and I mean, it wasn't even a moment, it was like throughout the time that I lived with you, she liked very peculiar stuff. Like, she had to eat like there were 3 things on her menu. It was like what is it, pita bread, chicken, and pasta, and that was all she would eat throughout the whole entire year. So it was like very peculiar things that she liked and things that had to be kind of a certain way. And if I didn't talk to her about it before, then I, 1, wouldn't have known how to help, and 2, I would have personally probably thought, this is like a little bit unusual, more on the unusual side.
Yeah, so not only that, but I think that after some time, you were able to pick up on the things, right? That, she's gonna have an episode, or her OCD might be really bad, and her anxiety, so what can we do? So what are some of those moments that you felt that, there's something going on, maybe I should talk to her, talk to her parents about this behavior?
Okay, so I think I remember one moment we were in the apartment, and I don't exactly know what happened before, but I remember you were in a state of like anxiety, nervousness. I can tell you were really agitated with something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I literally saw a shift in you like within 10 seconds, and you went from being that to like being super giddy, and you were jumping up and down, and you were excited about something, and I was like, I literally just witnessed this, because I had never seen you like this, like before that. This was really, I think, the first time where I saw a really big change. And I actually remember telling you, I was like, Vicky, like, are you okay? Like, do you want me to tell you when something's like a little bit off? Like, do you want to talk about something? Because I remember that moment, I could see the change. And that's when I asked her, and like I said, leading to more communication on this topic really helped me understand her, but also make her feel a little bit more comfortable too.
Yeah, for sure. That was super helpful, because then I was able to tell her, hey, I'm not feeling great. I would text her if something was going on, and then like I would realize through talking to her and through her telling me, hey, you're not okay, I'd be like, okay, I need to sleep more, talk to my doctor, change my medications, whatever it was. I was able to really internalize what she was telling me, and which really helped my my mental health overall.
Yeah, and I remember asking you, like, do you want me to tell you when I see something's off or something's weird? And she said yeah. So
Yeah.
every like here and then I would tell her like, are you feeling okay? Like it seems like something's off, and um,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'd come out of my room, and you know, guys, like how like the bipolar gives you these bursts of I can do absolutely anything in the world, and like I'm so powerful in dreams and stuff. And I'm like, Cate, I have the greatest idea ever, and like I would like go
yeah.
on and tell you ideas, ideas, ideas. I was like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and then of course it also crashed, so I wouldn't have energy to do anything. But there were moments where I was just on top of the world. I felt so happy. I felt like I could do anything. And you were like
I could tell, like you can tell those changes. So yeah, I think to some point it was really noticeable at times. So it was good to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
And I remember in the kitchen, like whenever we were having lunch or dinner together, I remember we would sit down and I would ask her, like, because I was curious, I wanted to know more, and I would ask her, and she was really open to telling me anything. And it was questions after questions. Like, I don't know if you remember, I was curious and I would tell you and I would ask you. And she was kind enough and open-minded to tell me about it, which really helped me, I guess, understand. And so talking about it with you, like, it really helped me get an insight of what mental health was, why is it so important to talk about, why is it so like relevant in our world today. And I really think that through our conversations I've become a lot more receptive of the fact that people are going through something, and it's not just because they're emotional or just because they're sad. Like there's reasons behind why everybody acts a certain way, and we have to be aware of that. And I really think talking about that and communicating with you and educating myself on it really helps. It really helps with that.
That's a key word, educating. I mean, nobody's born knowing. I have told y'all how before I had the diagnosis of bipolar, I would call people bipolar. I mean, that's just something most people do. They don't know about mental illnesses. But it's important to ask these questions. I was always open because, I mean, honestly, I had fun. I may have a YouTube channel about this. Like, I literally answer questions and talk about it. But overall, I thought it was super important also to, explain my feelings. Hey, I think my brain is a little different, and this is how. And I feel like that always intrigued you.
Yeah.
Because you would ask me questions even about like medications
Yeah.
and like how does that affect you, or like how do you think. So I think that led to a lot of really interesting and fun conversations.
Yeah.
So now I want to know how this has affected your life personally. Not only with me, but maybe other people that you've met, maybe like, yeah, how has that changed your perception? How have you applied those learnings to your own life?
So I think that, witnessing you, and I've also had other friends who've gone through similar things, different things too. One has made me more self-aware of my own emotions and to listen to my own emotions, and, understanding that it's okay to feel this way, that a lot of people feel this way too. Like through my undergraduate career, there's been times where I feel really stressed or really anxious, and it's allowed me to, I guess, understand those emotions as well. But more than that, I feel like it's made me more open-minded. So when people are anxious and stressed, I really try to be that person, to be there to listen to them, because I know that there's a reason behind that. It's not that they're just, feeling sad or feeling this. Like there's a reason behind it. There's a reason why they feel that way. And I like to be that person that helps them and helps them feel at ease, and just be, I guess, like someone who, a helping hand, I guess, for people who feel that way. So.
And you've done a really great job at it. Like I love you.
Aw, thank you.
I mean, definitely. And I know that this will also help you, all these experiences help you in the future with your career and everything that you want to do, since medicine and like related to health, all that really interests you. You definitely have like a heart for that, and I've definitely seen that, like being able to, really calm like you helped me calm down, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that you'll help in the future.
Aw, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so now since you guys have heard at least some of the stories of, when I was in college and while we were living together, now we want to talk about some of the tips or advice that we would give other people who maybe if you have the mental illness, you're about to go to college, or maybe if you're going to live with somebody who has a mental illness, maybe if they haven't told you that they have a mental illness, but you see certain things, how to approach them and listen to them. So I don't know, Cate, you have some advice?
I think, I will reiterate this like over and over again. I think communication is key. I think that it goes both ways. That person can't help you if you're not, somehow a little bit more vocal about it, and vice versa. I think there has to be communication on both parts. And I think whenever there's communication, you're going to foster, support and encouragement and just understanding and education. And I think that just trickles down to different things. So I think communication between one another, not just one way, is really important.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that that's the number one thing. And I mean, there's definitely ways to do it. If that person, maybe you got a random roommate, or you weren't friends, or you weren't lucky like us that we were just friends from high school, and you see certain things going on, try to talk about yourself. If you open up about yourself, that person is more likely to open up about themselves. And then be a safe space, but also set limits. Like if, for example, I was having, too many panic attacks and it got too much for Cate, it was okay for her to say, hey, like, I can't right now. Maybe you need to go get help, more professional help, because I can't do everything. That's okay. Setting limits is amazing. That's something that we all need to do in our lives. So definitely that. I think that it's important, if you have the mental illness, to please get help. It'll help you so much. It'll help you cope. It'll help you be more organized. It'll help you feel better, and just have a better mental health, and also have a better relationship with your roommate. So those are key things. Those are things that we did for sure. We were always open with each other and able to answer those questions. Also, as a roommate, it's important to keep the contact information of the parents or of family members that can help in case of a crisis, because most often those people will be far away from that person and you'll be the person that's the closest. So it's important to have those like safety measures, or this person's in a crisis, who do I call? And always remember to call 911 if you think that a person's life is in danger.
Yeah.
And also, just in regards to living with another person, if you have a mental illness, it's important to feel good wherever you are. If you have a roommate that you don't feel like they're helping your mental health, then do everything possible to spend as much time as possible somewhere else, or just move out, because that's not going to help anyone. It's probably going to make you suffer a lot in school with all the stress that you have, and then coming home to something that you don't like. So make sure that you try as much as you can to be somewhere where you go home and you're like, I feel good, I want to be here, I have someone to talk to. I think that's one of the key things to success.
You have to remember, your home is like, it should be your safe space. It should be the place that you go back. If you're feeling a certain way, it's the place that you go back to calm yourself down, to chill out, to just be in peace. And if you can't have peace at home, it's really hard to have peace in your head. So I think definitely having a safe space is important.
Yeah.
And the other thing is being surrounded by people that help your mental health. If you're being surrounded by people who are kind of negative, or you don't feel comfortable around, it's not worth it. Your mental health is the most important thing. It's one of the most important things, and you always need to take care of that. And so surrounding yourself with people who listen to you, who will talk to you whenever you need to vent something, or just surrounding yourself by positive people who will lift you up, instead of adding a negative atmosphere, like that doesn't help anyone. So
yeah. And also, I think there's a lot of stigma about people with mental illnesses. We look like they put us in movies, and most people don't have that severe mental illness. And so it's important to realize that you can live with somebody who has a mental illness. That, I mean, I don't know, like
yeah.
that there might be its ups and downs, of course. Nothing's perfect, but I think that nobody's perfect. I think, anything can happen with anyone, whether they have a mental illness or not. So, yeah. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
No, I mean, I agree. Like, she has a mental illness, and living with her was super nice. Like, as long as there was communication between us, and as long as I could understand her and try to understand her, and it was fine. Like, there was nothing that I was like,
Yeah.
So, I think.
I mean, it was different, but I mean, I had to go to her room because I was scared, because I was paranoid. I thought there was cockroaches that one time, and there was no cockroaches.
Yeah.
Because I was on a medication, and I mean, it's gonna be a ride for sure.
It is different, but I think anyone can, can really help someone else as long as there's communication on both parts.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, Cate, do you have any last words for us? It can be about anything mental health that you would like.
Yes. I would say, to, as redundant as it sounds, to always be in tune with how you feel, and to always take care of your mental health first. Because if your mental health is not there, you're not there. It'll trickle down somewhere, some form. I know for me, the past year has been really stressful, and I have to admit, I have to do a better job of listening to my anxiety, taking breaks, taking days off. So I just want to encourage you guys to do the same thing. I know school can be stressful sometimes, or life can be stressful sometimes, and it's important to always listen to yourself and to take breaks if you need to. I need to take my own advice sometimes, but it's really important, and always, always, always prioritize your mental health.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think we all make that, mistake of not taking care of our mental health. I know I have. So it's important to realize that without mental health, there's no you. Like I said in my last video, even if you get an amazing grade, if your mental health suffers, then what's the point? What's the point of it all? You're supposed to be trying to be happy in life. We only have one life. So that's very important. And school, there's always a solution to everything. I know, Cate, you would come home, you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, with your stress with your old classes.
Yeah.
And I remember I would tell you, well, it's me after having a panic attack. I would tell you, well, it's gonna be okay. You don't have to worry so much about your grades. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard, but it's us. A&M, we just graduated. I guess we have to say is take care of your mental health. If you have to take another year, take another year, as long as you are feeling well, at least most of the time. So with that, if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share with somebody who you believe should watch this video. One more thing before we leave. Cate was there with my partner also when we came up with the idea of making a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
So that was it. And then when we came up with the name and everything. So in honor of, having all this journey together and you actually being there since the beginning, let's finish this off by saying, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and a bad day does not mean a bad life.